Eating a well done steak, I think, actually makes you retarded. So it's like a chicken and the egg situation.
I mean, if I'll say this: if you eat a well done steak, you deserve a disability check more than I do. Do we have an intro for the show, or is this like the pregame, or?
Why, yes, I'm glad you asked. Let's fucking go, buddy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I think I'm a boomer. I think I'm a zoomer. I think I'm a doomer. Damn, I'm Montezuma. Okay. EWGWHITE coming with the heat.
I stay fooling with my bop, my tunes will make your speakers hot. Dance floor, hopscotch, baby.
Welcome to the Grillcast, the only podcast in the world dedicated to radical centrism. I am your host, Orion. Joining me as always is Micah.
Hello again. Hello.
And we got a very special guest here today. We have a POC person of Crippled. That is right. We got Crippled Jesus. How are you doing, man?
What's up? I personally like to say people of chair, but I like people of cripple as well. That's a good pronoun. Right now, a gender is on a spectrum, so this could change over the matter of 30 minutes. But right now, I identify as Optimus Prime. So those are my pronouns for everyone wondering.
Cool, like a crippled transformer.
Well, yeah, that's what we cripples are. We're half transformer.
When you play, have you ever played Cyberpunk? How do you feel about like, would you get like leg augmentations or would you get like a super chair?
I'm waiting on Elon Musk to make robot legs. I don't play much video games other than Walking
Based.
Simulator. That one is pretty awesome. But
What?
I'm not much of a gamer myself.
Well,
That's very based.
I certainly hope he does do that because, as far as I can tell, all he's concerned with right now is creating Martian slave plantations. But robot legs would be nice.
You know what I like about that guy is he is the richest man in the world now, and he still decides to fuck a five. That's very admirable.
He stays humble.
Yeah, like this guy could get like women that I only dream of. Like he could get Margaret Quilley or
Margaret Thatcher.
yeah, Margaret Thatcher, Betty White. These are the women that we all think about, and he chooses to get a girl that I could get, which to me is just it shows a testament to his character.
I mean, at this
Only the
point,
people's billionaire.
couldn't it be that he kind of feels like he's being held hostage after seeing what happened to Jeff Bezos?
Well, yeah. Although if you have that amount of money, realistically, are you even upset that you had to give that much away in a divorce? Like, did he
Yes.
even notice? Like, I know to us that's a lot of money, but like, do you think he even thought about that for more than 2 seconds?
Man, I think it's less about the money and more about the principle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I look at it as like, oh, this bitch is gabbing again. I better give her $3 billion so she gets off my case.
Bro, it's like, I don't know. Think about the most expensive escort you could buy, right? Probably like $50,000, something like that, 100K. That's like, Belle Delphine. And I don't know, man, like $3 billion for Mackenzie Bezos. I don't know if that's her name. I think it is. Like,
Well,
she's,
yeah, I mean, he might
again,
have a
she's a
sea
five.
turtle fetish. You never know. In that case, that would be top prime for him.
Yeah. Or it could be their kink too, just like giving billions of dollars to
Because
low
from
low
what
rate
I've
women.
seen, she's basically a female version of Mitch McConnell in terms of how she looks. But maybe he's into that. I don't know what he likes. I know. Me personally, I'm in defeat because fucking them feels like revenge. So
I feel like someone on this show might agree with you. What do you think, Micah? All right, he's gonna stay quiet for that one.
oh,
Okay.
I see we have another. I see we have another feet guy on the podcast. Don't be ashamed because this is what I tell other feet people. You don't be ashamed because there's someone out there that thinks Tess Holiday is hot. So at least you're not as demented as that person. That's the way I look at it.
Well, God bless.
But I'm talking way more than you. You're the host of the show, so what are we getting into today?
All right. Well, you're a lot more interesting than me, so I'm glad to hear from you. But we'll start off with I wanna let everyone know why we haven't had many left wing guests on this show. We're a radical centrist podcast, and we pride ourselves on having people from all across the political spectrum come on to defend their views and ideologies and to talk shit. Now, I've tried to get lefties on the show. I really have tried, but they're fucking impossible to deal with. I'm gonna read a few Reddit messages I've received. So generally, what I try and do to book guests, I go to subreddits, I message their mod team, and I say, "Hey, would any of you assholes want to come on and talk about your stupid subreddit?" Right?
Well, I not to interject, buddy, but I think I see the problem. You shouldn't be getting your guests from Reddit. That's like the worst of the worst.
No, but that's the thing. I like having
Yeah.
horrible people on my show.
Reddit in internet terms, it's like the kids that are so autistic that they weren't allowed to go to the swole kids school. They had to get locked
Not
up
allowed
in
in
an
your class.
asylum instead.
Yeah, well, you're definitely right, but that's kind of what I'm looking for is people that are just fucking, off the deep end weirdo internet spirits. And so that might be part of what's contributing to this. I messaged the moderators of the Right Can't Meme. I said, I'm looking for a champion to come on my show to debate a mod from a right wing subreddit. Are there any takers here? I will act as a radical centrist mediator. And they message back, you will not find a leftist that will agree to do this, and any that you do will be an individual that knows nothing about the left, which defeats the purpose you're going for, I think. Best you could find is a red lib or a silk gem, but again, as I said above, they aren't really leftists. Communists and anarchists that actually read will just flip the finger at the idea. It's antithetical to leftist theory. I asked the guy to come onto a podcast and talk some shit. Oh, it's antithetical to my theory. Like, what the fuck is wrong with these people?
Yeah, this is why I surround myself in politics. It's because people like this, they make me feel better about being in a wheelchair. I'm like, man, I might not be able to ever move my legs, but at least I can talk to 50% of the people. I'm not so mentally disabled and retarded that I can't talk to someone because they don't agree with me politically. So
They're too busy reveling in their correctness to come onto the podcast. And it's just easier for right wingers, I guess, because their job is to be condescending on the internet.
I already like you guys, and if you need a leftist guest, I got a few people that I could send to you after the show.
Please.
Absolutely.
Please.
Now, I will say a lot of them on the left and the right, a lot of people don't like to have their views challenged, so that might be why they're not coming on the show. But these people in particular they understand that not everybody will agree with what they say. Like, they're able to grasp that their opinion is not the only opinion out there, so...
They sound like they'd fit in well here because most of these people I try and get in touch with on the left are too busy smelling their own farts to smell feet with Micah and you.
They might be confused and think that we're like serious and some
I'm 100% serious. I don't know what
that too,
satire
because
is.
I'll tell you as a podcaster, nothing to me sounds worse. This isn't what the show is, but if you're presenting it as debating politics, that nothing sounds worse to me than debating politics on a podcast.
No. See, it's not a debate so much as it is a discussion, a panel and a forum to, you have a fringe ideology. You can come on here and we'll give you a platform to say it and we'll give you a fair shake.
I hate to be a shill for my own work here, but this reminds me of the time that I have a podcast that I co-host called Chimping Out with Isaac Jackson. It's on pretty much every podcasting platform you can think of. Google, Apple, all of that. And one of the episodes I did is we had a we had a white nationalist debate Isaac, who is a black man, and it was hilarious because they ended up agreeing on like 90% of what they were talking about. It's just that they replaced the race. So the white chick said black people when Isaac said white people. It was they were saying the same thing. The races were just replaced. So it was it reminds me of that. When we did that podcast, I realized, wow, these people have two different labels on totally opposite sides, and they pretty much agree with 90% of what they both said. It was very funny to listen to.
Now, that's what radical centrism in this podcast really is about. That I believe deep down that extremists, they agree with each other more than they disagree with each other, no matter how far away on the spectrum they are. So, on your point, I think that that goes to prove that extremists should stick together. Secondly, I want to say everyone go check out Chimping Out with Isaac Newton. You said
Isaac Jackson. Isaac
Isaac
Jackson.
Jackson. Very close, very close. Everyone go check that out. I have one more. I messaged the people from the anti-work subreddit. This is a subreddit
Oh
of
boy.
people. Yeah, they think that nobody should have to work and everybody should have they should live luxuriously, not even bare minimum comfortably. So they said, we're going to decline your invitation. Your podcast seems to rely on right
Your
wing
podcast
imagery.
sounds like work, so we're gonna have to decline the invitation.
Language and memes which is in conflict with our ideology and what we want to be associated with. Thanks for your interest, but no thanks.
I like that. I just want to say real quick that I like that these people think sitting around on government money is the ideology. That's
Well, I
very-
mean, look, I like collecting unemployment as much as the next guy, but like someone has to sell me my hamburgers.
Yeah, I mean, I do that. You know what I mean? I get a disability check every month, and it's awesome. But if everybody did that, the world would just crumble. Like somebody has to be a stripper. Somebody has to give me my Coca-Cola at McDonald's, and it better not be a medium cup because everyone knows medium cups bleed through, and that's fucking bullshit. And then I order a large, and I feel like a fat ass for the rest of the day because I had to order a large because the system is broken because your medium cup is made out of candle wax or some fucking
Dude,
bullshit.
like why would they even call it the r/anti-work? Like why wouldn't they just make it the unemployment subreddit?
So they probably think that the $2,000 is too small of the stimulus. Like they want it to be like 10 G's, right?
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, they just don't want to. Their ideology is basically like work if you want to, don't work if you don't want to. And I can't imagine anyone on there.
I'll let them in on a little secret. Nobody at all wants to work. So if you say it's up to you to work, everyone on the planet Earth is gonna say, "Nah, I'll just stay home and jag off and watch James Bond for the 30th time in a row." Like nobody wants to work. Working sucks. But no, I can definitely get you some leftists on the podcast. I just think you're looking in the wrong place, buddy.
Yeah, that's probably true. Well, I have a few questions I wrote down to ask you because it's not very often that we get to talk to a person of chair. I want to ask, who in the crippled community do you idolize? Are you a Stephen Hawking fan or more of a Joe from Family Guy sort of person? Who do
Well,
you
if
really
I had to
idolize?
choose, I would say Joe from Family Guy is the best. But actually, I am the best cripple because number one, Stephen Hawking was better than me for a while, but he's dead. So the rules of hierarchy have now determined that I am the best cripple alive, and there is no other good ones. And I've talked about this story many times. But the reason that I find other cripples so insufferable is because it's like a really flamboyant gay guy. You know, all they talk about is how they love sucking dick and how they wear tube tops and they're so gay, and it's so fabulous, and their whole personality is that they're gay, which cripples do the same, only all they do is talk about, this guy opened the door for me. That's a fucking microaggression because they opened the door, and then they talk about what they can't do for hours on end, which to me is insufferable to be around.
Personally slam doors on cripples when I see them because I don't want to microaggress. I want to.
Yeah.
I think they're handy capable. I don't want to take that away from them and strip them of their autonomy.
You know what cripple pandering that I hated the most? So when I mentioned in the podcast earlier that I do get a disability check, and the first time you get one, they make you show up to the office in person, and they have a poster of Walter White Jr. from Breaking Bad as like a model of what a cripple could be. It's like, oh, gee, thanks. I can be a shitty actor. My disability doesn't stop me from becoming a terrible actor. The worst part of one of the best shows on TV. Wow.
It must be at least this crippled to ride this ride.
It's I hate Walt Jr. too, but
More than Skyler?
oh, absolutely, because at least Skylar would contribute to the story plot. Like, so you have this awesome guy, right? He's dying from cancer, total badass, making meth to support his family. And you're in the zone, like, you're in that whole idea that the chicken guy is after him and he has a bunch of people in the cartel as his enemies. And all of a sudden, it randomly cuts to, hey, Dad, how was your day, Dad? Can I get a grilled cheese, Dad? Like, it's so fucking retarded and out of place. I've always hated Walt Jr. for that reason. But yeah, there's really no, to finish my long answer, my too long answer, there's really no good cripples out there but me.
I mean, I see a lot of pretty good ones on TLC.
Oh, is that the 600-pound wife?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have a lot of shows.
You know,
about
I was watching one the other day, and it was so funny. This bitch was so fat that she had to be carried around in the luggage thing that airports have, and she broke one of the wheels. It was hilarious.
God, I gotta ask. So, you say that you're the best cripple, so clearly there's a cripple hierarchy. So, as far
There
as this
is, yeah.
goes, I'd imagine it's like, people who are so fat they become crippled at the bottom. I don't know, maybe like people who become crippled later in life versus people who are born crippled. Like, what's this hierarchy look like?
So the hierarchy is, there are levels of bad, right? The worst are the people that are so fat that they go from wobbling side to side to Walmart Rascal scooter. And then after that, you have deaf people, which they are the worst. Because I don't know if you're familiar with deaf Twitter or not, but there is a whole movement. There's a whole movement on Twitter about how ear implants are ableist and that it's unfair to deaf people to invent them. So they're so retarded that they actually would stay disabled even after a cure for their thing has been invented. I'm going to tell you guys, if they figured out how to cure my palsy tomorrow, I would be leaving all the other cripples in the dust. The first thing I would do is go run up some stairs like fucking Rocky Balboa. I would not think where I came from for another second if I got away.
Let me ask you this: is the irony of deaf Twitter that nobody wants to hear them?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I don't like deaf people either. None of them listen to the show, and it's kind of like, if you're not going to give me a chance, I'm not going to give you a chance.
Fuckers.
Yeah, fuckers. We actually went over.
I can say whatever I want about them. They're not going to hear this anyway, so.
Exactly. We actually went over on an earlier episode a case of a woman, a lesbian couple actually, deaf lesbians, and they had a kid. Their kid was born partially deaf, but they could get an implant so that they could hear. And the couple said, no, we don't want that because we want that kid to be part of our community. It's kind of a fucked up situation.
You know what? It is fucked up, but those parents actually saved that kid because he won't have to listen to lesbian slam poetry ever. So he's actually saved in the long run.
That's a good way to look at it. You're an optimist. You're a legs half full sort of guy.
I know that you know what confuses me about lesbians? I'm friends with a lot of them. I don't have a problem with them liking women. I too was born with that disease of liking women, and I've coped with it pretty well. But there is this new rise, and I've talked to my lesbian friends about this. There's this new rise of cowboy lesbian, and I don't really understand where it comes from.
They're cowboys. They're not
Yeah,
cowgirls.
like they literally wear like cowboy boots and the whole leather jacket with the flames and the wings on it and flannel and the cowboy hat. I don't get it. I'm not understanding it. Maybe it's some kind of biker gang that I'm not cool enough to join. Or I don't know.
If I was a lesbian, I'd probably do that. That sounds kind of cool.
It's just weird to me. I mean, I get the dressing like a man, but why do you want to dress like a cowboy? Do you want to be a man that also has the brain of a 5-year-old? Is that your identity? Like, I want to be a cowboy when I grow up.
They're women. They already have the brain of a 5-year-old.
You know,
So
that's a fair point.
connected those dots. So one story to switch subjects that I heard about from you was talking about your poker strategies. You're a gambling man.
I am.
You know, I'm quite the gambler myself, and I thought I had the best strategies, but I think that yours really take the cake. Would you like to fill my listeners in on what exactly your strategy is?
Sure. So I call it downsing is what the strategy is referred to as, and it's based on the premise that everybody thinks I'm retarded because I'm in the chair. So what I do is I act retarded at the table, and then they call whatever my bet is because they think I have a shitty hand.
And how does that work? Does it work well for you? Do people catch on and be like, "Wait, maybe this guy's not as retarded as I thought"?
The only flaw in the system so far that I'm noticing is if you play with the same people, if you play with the same group of people for too long, they will eventually catch on. But really, to get around that, all you need is one new guy to come into your game because poker is a game. You don't need to make money from the whole table. You just need to get your money from one player. I mean,
Oh,
you
absolutely.
but yeah, the goal is to get as many players in before the pre-flop of a hand. But ideally, like when you break it down, really, you really only need to get majority of your money from one or two players. So
It's always been my strategy going in. You go for the new guy, you try and shark him a little bit, and then you got double the pot to throw around.
and it helps if you drool too. Drooling always works. Live by the drool, die by the drool. That's basically the strategy.
Just like talk like you've had a stroke recently.
Well, you can probably tell you've been talking to me for 20 some minutes, but I already have a tired voice, so I don't really have to do much to exaggerate it.
Do you do anything crazy with your eyes? Like, do you try and get them to look in separate directions, or like?
No, just a lot of drawing, and then the only other subtle thing that you do is if you forget to pay your blinds on purpose, and the dealer has to tell you, "Oh, you're big blind, you're small blind." If you do that enough times, they'll be like, "Oh, this guy's retarded. I'm
Oh,
gonna
there
take
you
all
go.
his money." Yeah, it's a good system.
It's a big brain move right there.
I was calling it the Helen Keller when it first started, but then I realized that Helen Keller was faking it, so I had to come up with a new name.
Have you listened to that on PKA, Taylor? Go through that
You'll laugh.
conspiracy.
Yeah, please
Oh, I
elaborate.
have. It's one of my favorite ones because it reestablishes the point that I'm the greatest cripple on earth. So,
Living cripple.
well, yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing, though. He made the point earlier that if you're not alive, you can't be great because obviously God hates you. You're dead.
Right.
Isn't
Yeah.
isn't being dead kind of a disability?
Yes.
Not to
What I
downplay
want to
your.
know is when I die, will I still be crippled? That's what I want to know.
So I think your whole body is just crippled at that
Yeah.
point.
Well, if you are a religious person, and you believe in the idea of heaven, so and I am crippled in life, so I wonder if I die and somehow crawl up the stairway to heaven and I make it, would I still be crippled
Yeah,
after
you
I'm in the
would.
gates?
You would be. That's what God
Have
intended.
a
I mean,
wheelchair ramp by
like this
now.
was my image, and you're gonna live with it.
See, I think so too, but I think I would just have a golden power chair that never runs out of battery.
Yeah, like they'd set you up, like they'd hook you up with good digs and shit. Like they're not gonna be total assholes about it.
See, I think it's kind of like, when your dog dies, it goes to dog heaven, right? Or when your cat dies, it goes to cat heaven. So you would go to cripple heaven. It's separate but equal. There's a handicap ramp that goes up to it. And yeah, you get your golden chair, you hang out with crippled God.
That sounds more like a slow kid class than heaven. I think I would rather go to hell.
Crippled hell.
Crippled hell.
That's an oxymoron because no cripple makes it into heaven to begin with. So,
Do you believe in God? Are you a man of faith?
it depends on what kind of chick I'm trying to bang. So, for the purpose of this podcast, I'll just say that I pray sometimes.
Theology fishing. Yeah.
Very based in centrist.
And if you are a atheist, listen, atheist out there, even if you're not into the church idea, there's a lot of fine ass at these churches. So, even if you're not into the whole God thing, just consider that.
Look, men pretend not to be like a whole lot of things when we're trying to bang women. You can pretend to believe in God.
Right. You to even get to that point, you have to pretend that she's saying something interesting, which is almost a religion in itself. You have to be so dedicated to it.
Yeah.
Man, you're dropping some knowledge today. I do want to ask you, lastly, about the tussle you're having with your college professor.
Oh yeah, sure.
I don't know if you want me to start it off or if you want to explain what's going on.
So it's evolving by the moment, and I'm updating everyone on this on other podcasts, social media, all of that stuff. But basically,
We find you on social media.
I'm on Twitter at Crippled Jesus, and I'm also on paypig.org at Crippled Jesus. And if you don't have a PayPig account, I would encourage you to get one because you can say all the words that you're not allowed to say on Twitter.
Oh, perfect. So I can call people cripples on there?
Well, my word of choice is faggot. And if you have to bleep that, you can bleep that if you have to. But I personally was stunted around like 2007 when they had those faggot ads on TV, and they were like, "Don't say faggot." And they took the white women basically took our right to say faggot away from us. And PayPig, it's like being on the cool internet, like 2007 internet. Is the
Oh
best
man,
way I can describe it. But to get back to the story, the whole feud, it started because the first day of class, right? You would normally introduce yourself to the class, and then the teacher asks you why you're here. So they did that, and they saved the best for last. I was the last one. I didn't get to go fully into what she asked because there was only 5 minutes left. But when she asked me why I was in there, I said because I needed a humanities credit, and this class I know this class is going to be entertaining.
I'm sure she took that well.
Yeah, she didn't take kindly to that answer, and now she's deleting my work because we have what's called the discussion board in college, and one of the questions she asked that we are supposed to comment on is why is it important to or is it important to distinguish physical differences from the sexes? And I argued that it was, and my evidence for my argument was Phelan Fox. Do you guys know who that is?
No, I don't.
So Phelan Fox is a transgender fighter who, as a man, was a terrible fighter. She has a 1-win, 5-loss record. So in order to legally get away with beating women athletes, Phelan Fox played the transgender card. Didn't even quip the penis, I might add. She didn't even make an effort to perceive herself as a woman. She just gave a woman name, and then she was legally able to beat women. And
That's so
I
base.
never thought I would get a post deleted for arguing against beating women in a feminist studies class. But
So
life
base.
never seems to stop amazing me. It always does.
Getting paid to beat women.
I know, right? I've been doing it for free all this time. What have I been
We're a
doing?
bunch of jackasses. We really should get some courses from this guy on how we can get paid to beat women.
King or queen, I don't discriminate.
Yeah, but
publicly.
apparently that is what's called dead naming, because I did not use the word, and I didn't even know this was a thing until the post got deleted. And then I had a meeting with her boss to talk about this thing, and he told me at the end that saying the wrong pronoun is like saying the N-word to a black guy. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, I don't remember about the transgender slave trade, but maybe I fell asleep in that part of history class. But
I don't know. It's just like crazy to me. I don't think we're gonna get any higher up the scale in like epistemological like questioning, like beyond whether or not it makes it socially acceptable to beat women as long as you pretend to be one. I don't think we can go any further than that.
Well, I want to sincerely thank liberals for making this nonsense into a class. This is probably the funniest time I've ever had in my entire life. So, thank you, liberals, for making all this shit up and putting it into a college degree, because I think it's hilarious.
And more accurately, leftists, because liberals are our friends.
Oh yeah, leftist, whatever. I'm not good at pronouns, so whatever you're calling yourself these days. Thank you for your service.
Good stuff. Fuck, I was gonna ask something, but it's slipping from my mind
Well,
right now.
I had a question for him.
Roll with it.
Yeah,
man,
go ahead.
This is kind of just like off the cuff and totally random. Who do you think Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump? Who do you think he would have voted for president?
I don't think Lieutenant Dan would have voted because he would have went to the wrong polling station. That's my answer.
Too fucked up.
Yeah, I don't even know what era he was in. He would have voted for Andrew Yang.
Are you a Yang guy? I made a lot of money off the Yang guys. Are you a Yang guy?
Yeah, I am.
Ironically, yeah.
There's a bunch of poker players that I play poker with that said that they think Andrew Yang would be president, and I made about $300 total from 3 different people because they bet money that Andrew Yang would have beaten out Donald Trump in the first time around.
I think he has a much better chance of becoming mayor of New York, partially in part of the Chinatown vote.
Well, yeah, and they made Bloomberg the mayor. I mean, for Christ's sake, I'm taller than Bloomberg, and I can't even stand. So for you to make that guy your mayor, that doesn't really show any integrity in your city at all. You have a manlet for a mayor.
See, I disagree. I've always been I was really disappointed in 2020 because I was Bloomberg no matter whomberg. He was my guy, and to see him tossed to the wayside just for the crime of being part of the LGBT landlords, gamers, billionaires, and truckers. I mean, it's just fucking sad, man.
And quelling dozens of sexual harassment lawsuits.
You know what's even funnier too is instead of running cringe ads, he could have all just gave us like $5,000 to vote for him, and we all would have done it.
Yeah.
Would have voted for him.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
all would have done
$5,000?
it.
Why would
Shit, who's
you?
got
Why
more?
would you take $1,000 tomorrow when you can have $5,000 today?
Right, yeah. I don't even like Bloomberg like politically or as a human. But if he offered me over $2,000, I would absolutely vote for him.
Where are you, like, politically? Where would you put yourself?
I mean, I don't have a party. I was big on the Trump train in 2016, but he fizzled out like halfway through his presidency. So I don't really have a guy. I would like to see John McAfee become president, but you know that's never gonna happen on account of his alleged felonies.
Literally every show John McAfee gets brought up.
John McAfee, he did nothing wrong.
I think he's innocent. I'll declare that right now.
Oh no,
He was
no
literally framed. I've went over this briefly a couple times, but look at the documentary, that absolute smear hit piece. Look at who the executive producer was, and that guy is dating the female scientist in that, who was like, "Oh, I got raped." Wah.
Oh
Like,
yeah, and so I hate to show this isn't even my podcast anymore, but a while back, my first podcast, I actually got to interview McAfee. It was like a 20-minute interview, and
shit.
for like the first 10 minutes, we were just shitting on that documentary because like it was so obviously a hit piece. I mean, there's one part where they talk about he would pay these hookers to poop in his mouth, and they made it look like it was a rape. Like they made it look like he was a rapist because he's into getting poop in his mouth. Like it was, when in reality it's nobody's business, and it was all consensual because a prostitution is a legal contract once you pay the woman in question for the service. But yeah, that documentary is the whole hit piece. There's not one sense of truth to it, and I think John McAfee could have brought this country to the right place.
I gotta ask you, did he admit to getting pooped in the mouth?
No. You know, I'm into weird stuff too in the bedroom, and it's none of my business what
Who
he
the
likes.
fuck cares? Once you hand a woman any amount of, you should be able to do whatever you want with them.
Right, yeah, right. Especially if she's a prostitute. But I guess John McAfee is my presidential candidate. Even though I know it'll never happen, in my heart I want to believe.
I'm so glad you said this. I'm there with you 100%. He would have fixed this country. He would have destroyed the Fed. And look, Donald Trump, he was a pretty good president. You know, at first I wasn't so sure about him, but then he started giving lots of money to Israel, and I'm like, yeah, this is my guy. But, you know, he was okay, but I think we can do better. I think we can do better.
He could have given more money.
He could have given more money to Israel, to be fair. He didn't quite give enough, in my opinion. Like 38 billion. Why are you only giving me $39 billion?
Yeah.
Or how about how he fired his supporters, neglected all his supporters, didn't do anything about internet censorship except tweet about it here and there. Really, that's what makes him a great president. Is that instead of doing stuff, he just tweeted.
Here's the thing about him. Like, leftists will like go on and on about him now, but I swear, when Mike Lindell becomes the next Republican president, the left wing is going to talk about Trump like they talk about George W. Bush right now.
I think that's probably true. You know, I think what got me about Trump is I believed all the marketing in 2016. I believed he was actually going to drain the swamp, and I put him on a pedestal. And I probably shouldn't have did that to begin with. But he's still funny. He's still very funny, charismatic guy. I like him, and I did enjoy like every day nonstop about how the press is just desperately clinging to get something on him, and he's just owning them, stiff arming them every day of the week. I enjoyed that quite a bit, but yeah,
Actually, really beautiful what you just did. I don't think I've ever heard anyone be like, "Yeah, so I liked this politician, and I think I fell for some marketing stuff, and maybe I got a little too into it." People double down; they don't take a step back like you just did. You don't even have working legs, and you took a step back.
I look at my mega hats too. I have two. I have the red one, the famous red one, and I have the gay one. I have the one with rainbow letters. And I look at them both and I'm like, wow, those are great hats. And he really didn't make America great again. But those are still great hats. I'm gonna wear that hat because it's a good hat, damn it.
It's all about the memories, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, everybody jumped on the hat game after Trump.
Yeah, the Yang hats were sick. I wish I would have gotten one of those.
Yeah, I
In
got
in
one of
my
those.
personal opinion, he started the hat game. And
Yeah, seriously.
Yang is the only one that came close. I don't know if you've seen the Biden hats, but they literally look like truck stop hats that you buy for $2. They're not
Oh,
good
you're
hats.
shit.
Yeah.
You don't need to have a good hat game when you can just steal the election.
I would stop the steal, but I can't get up the stairs. So there's not much I can do there. Sorry, guys.
Damn, foiled again. Yeah, would you have gone to the Capitol building if it was handicap accessible?
Absolutely.
not?
You know what? That guy, that son of a bitch, Dan Crenshaw, Captain Crunch, he gives Crippled a really bad name. And I've always wanted to take a shit on his desk. So if I was in
Settle the
Capitol,
score.
I would absolutely, I would take a shit on his desk.
Have like a nurse help you up onto his desk.
Or the Buffalo Man. Hopefully the Buffalo Man would help me. And
Shitting on
Oh,
Dan
man.
Crenshaw's desk is an American right.
God, I hope that Buffalo guy is okay. I hope he doesn't get too fucked.
I mean, they're probably gonna send him to Guantanamo, but we'll see.
Okay, I saw this. Okay, let me find this really quick.
Yeah.
It was some tweet I saw from some guy who worked for like Homeland Security who was like, we've sent people to Guantanamo Bay who had half as much evidence as the people at the Capitol.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That we tortured the innocent guy.
Yeah. It's like, what the wait a minute, that's not a good thing. That's bad.
Yeah, I mean, I knew they were gonna send him to Guantanamo just to make an example out of him, cause like he is the main guy. Like other than maybe the guy that stole the podium, maybe you could argue that he was the guy that got the most attention. But they love making examples out of people. So I knew the day that they caught him, they were gonna definitely, if not overdo his prison sentence, they were probably gonna torture him too.
Well, they already were made examples of. They were examples of things that were really, really funny.
I know, I love those guys. I think my problem with the BLM, I don't disagree with cops sucking because they do suck. The problem is that burning down an auto zone isn't gonna make cops suck less. You have to burn down government buildings, which
Well, we here at the Grillcast don't say you should do that, but if it were to happen, that'd be
oh no, I'm not
magically. Like
saying
if
you
lightning
should.
were
I'm
to
saying if you want change from the government, burning down a brake pad store is not the way to go.
if lightning were to hit some government buildings, that's nature. You can't stop nature.
Right, yeah. I don't condone burning government buildings.
My problem with BLM isn't even that so much is that they're not funny. Like
Please,
okay,
please FBI, don't come over here in your black van and break my legs with the crowbar.
see, like with these Capitol people, they dressed cool, they were funny, they stole like hard drives and took shits on desks, and
They
you
did
know,
shit that I would do if I was in the Capitol building. Like they just basically played a bunch of pranks on senators. They didn't even like try to make a point really, which I thought was even funnier.
They had a lot of fun. Whereas, BLM, they're not having fun. They're all serious all the time and talking about, oh, black people are dying. Like, yeah, that sucks. But, like, man, that's a real bummer to think about. That's not funny.
Yeah, at least add some spice to your protest.
Exactly. Give me something to laugh at. That's all I'm saying. That's how you make real changes with comedy. Now, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap up here. Do you have anything that you want to plug or anything else you want to talk about, CJ?
Like I said, I'm on the Chimping Out with Isaac Jackson podcast from time to time. I co-host. You can find that pretty much anywhere. And on my social media is Crippled Jesus on Twitter and paypig.org.
All right, badass man. Thanks for coming on. It's been a hell of a time.
I had a good time, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, we're happy to roll with it. Peace out, my Grillas.
I'm old as a boomer. My mindset on Zoomer. Everything cooler, long as I'm not Laura Loomer. If you think I'm not number one, I just spell that rumor. Hit that victory royale on some motherfucking coochie. Default dance on a bitch. Hit the default dance on a bitch. Floss dance while I'm flossing in a whip. Victory royale when that chopper hit. Self-incrimination, I have no participation. News keep asking, I don't say shit. You can't have my conversation. Never